Los Angeles is on edge. The city's heartbeat, usually vibrant and restless, now feels eerily subdued. Streets that once pulsed with life are deserted, as if the city itself is holding its breath, waiting for what comes next. The city's usual buzz is drowned out by the relentless thrum of helicopters overhead, the wail of sirens echoing through empty avenues, and the unmistakable presence of soldiers patrolling the streets in military vehicles. This isn't a movie set. This is LA, June 8, 2025. The world is watching as the city becomes the epicenter of a national crisis, its fate uncertain. Federal immigration raids have triggered protests that exploded into street battles, leaving fires and smoke in their wake. The air is thick with tension, and the line between protest and chaos blurs with every passing hour. Now, the National Guard is deployed, a move not seen since the 1992 riots. Their presence is a stark reminder of the city's turbulent history and the gravity of the current moment. Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom condemn the federal intervention, calling it a dangerous escalation. They warn that the city's fragile peace is at risk of shattering completely. President Trump, however, frames the unrest as rebellion, blaming local leaders and asserting federal control. The nation is divided, and the rhetoric only fuels the fire on the streets. The city is tense, with armored vehicles transforming neighborhoods and protesters facing off against a federalized military force. Families watch from their windows, uncertain and afraid. The conflict has outgrown immigration policy. Now it's a fight over who controls LA's streets. The struggle is about power, identity, and the future of the city itself. As night falls, the city remains a tinderbox, the anger unresolved and demonstrations set to continue. Los Angeles stands at a crossroads, its next move uncertain, as the world holds its breath. The crisis began with sweeping ICE raids in predominantly Hispanic neighborhoods, detaining hundreds and sparking immediate outrage. Families were torn apart overnight, with children left behind and communities thrown into chaos. The suddenness and scale of the raids sent shockwaves through the city, igniting fear and uncertainty among residents. Protests erupted, escalating from peaceful gatherings to violent clashes as federal agents responded with force. What began as calls for justice quickly spiraled into confrontations, with streets filling with chants, anger, and confusion. The city's tension was palpable, and the line between protest and unrest blurred. The government cited attacks on agents to justify tear gas and military intervention, but many residents saw the agents as occupiers. The presence of armored vehicles and heavily armed officers only deepened the sense of siege, fueling resentment and defiance among the crowds. The National Guard's deployment under federal orders is the first since the 1992 riots, reviving painful memories of past unrest. For many Angelenos, the sight of soldiers on city streets was a haunting reminder of a history they hoped never to repeat. The city's deep divides, racial, economic, and political, are once again exposed. Old wounds have reopened, and the fragile fabric of Los Angeles is being tested as never before. Whispers of invoking the Insurrection Act have heightened fears, signaling the White House's willingness to escalate further. Across the nation, anxiety grows as citizens wonder how far the government will go to restore order. President Trump's rhetoric frames the protests as rebellion, amplifying national anxiety. His words have polarized the country, deepening the divide between those demanding change and those calling for law and order. The crisis has become a flashpoint over presidential power and the military's role in domestic affairs. Legal experts and citizens alike debate the limits of authority as the nation watches with apprehension. Los Angeles is now the stage for a national debate on authority and civil rights. The city's struggle has captured the attention of the world, symbolizing a larger battle over the soul of the nation. The stakes have never felt higher, as every moment seems to shape the future of American democracy. In just 48 hours, Los Angeles descended into chaos, its streets transformed almost overnight. What began as a tense, uneasy calm quickly spiraled out of control, leaving the city reeling. ICE raids on Friday triggered protests outside the Roybal Federal Building, peaceful at first, but as the sun set, tensions flared. Demonstrators clashed with police and the mood shifted from hopeful to volatile in a matter of hours. By Saturday, more raids in Paramount fueled outrage. Protests spread rapidly, drawing in thousands from across the city. The movement grew, and so did the intensity, as anger and fear swept through neighborhoods. Fires erupted, lighting up the night sky. Federal agents and demonstrators clashed violently, turning city streets into battlegrounds filled with smoke, confusion, and fear. President Trump responded by ordering the National Guard into Los Angeles, blaming local leaders for losing control. The city braced for a new wave of uncertainty as armored vehicles rolled in. Federal and local agencies pointed fingers, exposing deep mistrust and a lack of coordination. Confusion reigned as leaders struggled to regain control and restore order. By Sunday, 2,000 National Guard troops had taken up positions, securing federal sites and patrolling neighborhoods. Their presence cast a heavy shadow over the city, changing the atmosphere entirely. The chaos of street clashes gave way to a tense, militarized standoff. The city felt on edge, with every corner watched and every movement scrutinized. Protests continued, but now under the watchful eyes of armed soldiers and military vehicles. The sense of danger lingered, and the city's residents wondered what would come next. The city's future felt more uncertain than ever, as Los Angeles stood at a crossroads, its fate hanging in the balance. The federal intervention has split the city and state from Washington. Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom denounced the deployment as political theater, insisting local authorities had control. California's leaders unite against what they call federal overreach, while the White House claims it's restoring order. President Trump and his allies praise the National Guard, promising zero tolerance for violence. On the ground, anger and fear mix with defiance. The arrest of union leader David Huerta during an ICE operation sparks outrage among activists. National figures like Bernie Sanders and the ACLU condemn the military presence as authoritarian. For protesters, the fight has become about more than immigration. It's about resisting a government they see as using force to silence dissent. The city's divisions are now on full display. Los Angeles stands at a crossroads, its streets under federal control despite local opposition. The deployment of troops sets a chilling precedent for how dissent is handled in America. The city's leaders must de-escalate while defending their authority and protecting residents. The risk of further violence is high, and any clash could trigger an even harsher response. The events in LA reveal deep national divisions over immigration, federal power, and the military's domestic role. This is more than a local crisis. It's a test of American democracy. As the world watches, Louisiana's fate may foreshadow what's possible elsewhere. The question now, if it can happen here, where next?